Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very good morning, everybody, and welcome on board the Mercuria for our trip heading downriver. And then we will also go further out of the city, making our way down to Greenwich. Now, I'd like to apologise for the delay in the service. The boat previous to us had a mechanical breakdown this morning, so unfortunately it has caused a bit of a backlog on the pier, but thank you all very much for your patience. We were due to leave at 11:40, so we've made it 10 minutes earlier. I do apologise for any inconvenience. Once again, just thanks for your patience. It was the boat before us that actually broke down. Is everybody happy? It's a nice day in London. So hopefully you're all enjoying yourselves. And as we leave the piers on the River Thames, we are required by law to run you through a safety announcement. The safety announcement given is not to alarm you, it is only routine. But to let you know that the vessel you're on today, the Mercuria, is fully equipped with life-saving equipment. Now, on board this vessel we carry life rafts, life rings and life jackets for 250 passengers, and the crew are fully trained. In the very unlikely event of an emergency whilst we are underway, please follow instructions from a crew member. Now, as I did say, that is nothing to alarm you. Please sit back, enjoy the cruise. Our next stop will be Tower Bridge Quay. So despite the disruption in the service, I hope everybody is happy. And on this boat, we like to keep you happy. And what we like to do along the way is point out the buildings in the form of a live commentary. Now, we're not tour guides on board, we are the crew. I have worked on the River Thames for just under 20 years. And over the years, I have learnt about the buildings around us. What I would love to do is pass on some of my local knowledge in the form of a commentary. So is that okay with everybody? Would you like a live commentary as we go through London? Yes? Okay, brilliant. So we'll give that a go. Now, I do apologise that I can only speak the one language, and that is some sort of English, okay? I will try to speak slowly and clearly, and hopefully this will help. If I do make any mistakes, please bear with me. I mean, some of what I tell you might not even be true.
Really?
But I will try my best. And we'll just start to the right-hand side, towering above us, we have the London Eye. And the London Eye stands 450 feet high. Now, this wheel takes half an hour to go around, and that will cost you £35 each. Now, around the outside of the London Eye, there are 32 glass capsules, and 32 is not a random number. Each one of those glass capsules represents one of the 32 boroughs of Greater London.
Oh, that's nice.
And from the top you can see all of them, hence its name, the London Eye. And it really is a great way to see London if you are pushed for time. So there's a few different alternatives to the London Eye as we go through the city, and I will try to point these out. Some of them are slightly cheaper, so we might be able to save you some money along the way as well. The building on the left, the Gothic style building, it's one of my favourite buildings on the banks of the Thames. That is Whitehall Court Mansions, and it houses the Royal 5-star Horse Guards Hotel, a lovely older building. And then up ahead of us, the first bridge that we pass beneath is Charing Cross Railway Bridge. Either side of the railway bridge are the Golden Jubilee walkways. A tradition, ladies and gents, as we go through the first bridge, what we like to do is wave and smile to the people standing above.
They're not. Where are they?
We'll blow the ship's horn to get their attention. If you get a wave back from the first bridge, that is said to bring 5 years of bad luck.
Oh!
I'm only joking. 5 years of good luck, and it does stop them throwing things at us as well, okay? So wave and smile, hope for the best. Hopefully we should be okay. Well, they're not really paying much attention, are they, today? If they don't wave back from the bridges, don't worry. It normally means that they are from London and miserable like the rest of us. And you may have heard when the trains go over the bridge, it's very noisy. The building to the right, soundproof. The Royal Festival Hall. The last remaining building from the Festival of Great Britain in 1951. And that's said to be one of Europe's finest concert halls. Over on the left-hand side of us, the oldest landmark you'll see today. Look on the river wall, the stone obelisk,
the right-hand side.
Cleopatra's
Needle, on the
Needle,
right-hand side, people.
older than London. One of only 30 obelisks in the world today, and was made in Egypt 3,500 years ago. It was brought to this country 200 years ago to celebrate Nelson's victory over Napoleon at the Battle of the Nile. That's Cleopatra's Needle. So the boat to the right that's manoeuvring next to us, the one behind it, that's the boat that had a problem this morning. So they've moored up now, they're going to resolve that problem and they're coming back into service later on today. So it was just a disruption to the morning service. You can blame all them guys, blame them. And we're about to pass under something that might interest the ladies. And here in front of us we have Waterloo Road Bridge, known on the river as the Ladies' Bridge. And that's because it was built by ladies.
Okay.
Now this bridge was built by the women of London during World War II. And that's when the men were away fighting. It is the longest bridge in London, and it spans the river a quarter of a mile, and it was the only bridge in London to ever be finished on time and under budget. Well done, girls. Waterloo Bridge. Well done, the ladies. Now, with it being a nice afternoon, all along to our right, a very popular riverside walkway, and this is all called the South Bank of London. The South Bank, it joins the London Eye to Tower Bridge, and to walk from one end to the other, it will take just over an hour. There are some lovely places to stop along the way, lots of bars, restaurants, riverside pubs, street food and street entertainment. So that's all along the South Bank of London to the right. And at the moment, look at the water. We are going against the incoming flood tide.
Wow.
So the water level in London is rising. And the tide is coming in from the North Sea, and that's 30 miles ahead of us. The tide in London rises for 5 hours. When it reaches higher water, the tide, it will turn and drop for 7 hours. In that 7 hours, the water level, it will drop just over 7 meters. So very, very powerful tides. And this might surprise some of you. Look over on the right, and in the middle of London, we have one of the best beaches in the world. Now, I don't know where you're all from. I bet you have never seen a beach as nice as that. And it is very popular down there during the summer. You'll find people sunbathing, building sand castles. It's really nice when you see the children paddling in the polluted river. It's a great day out for the kids. I highly recommend it. It's all free of charge as well. That's the South Bank Riviera. And there's a Magnificent building coming into view. Look ahead of us here to the left-hand side. And there's the lovely dome and golden cross of St Paul's Cathedral. Now, St Paul's Cathedral stands above London here, 365 feet high. And that building took 35 years to construct. Designed by Christopher Wren. And when we get further down the river, you do get another good view of St Paul's, but it is very impressive there above London. And you see the white building on the left with the green roof. That's the old City of London School for Boys. And it's where the likes of Winston Churchill gained his early education. If you look along the front of that building, see between the arched windows, there are 4 statues. And those statues are 4 of the country's greatest scholars, put there as inspiration to the boys. From left to right, those statues are of Isaac Newton, William Shakespeare, Sir Francis Bacon. I've forgotten the last one. David Beckham.
It's not true.
John Milton, so it's not David Beckham. Making sure you're listening. John Milton on the end. The bridges that we're about to pass beneath, these bridges mark the halfway point between the Tower and Westminster. The first one is Blackfriars Road Bridge and then Blackfriars Railway Bridge. In between the bridges, you'll notice these red columns left and right of the boat shortly, and the red columns are the remains of the first railway bridge in London. Now you'll see that the top of this bridge has been lifted off and it was removed 40 years ago. The red columns, they could not be removed. If the columns were lifted up, there was a good chance the other bridges may have fallen down. So these columns, they were left for safety reasons. So we are now halfway between Tower and Westminster. I hope everyone's okay. Is everybody okay? Yeah? Excellent. Hopefully you're enjoying it. As we come through the bridges, if there's any fans of modern art, the brick building with the chimney, that's the Tate Modern Art Gallery. It is the largest modern art gallery in the world, and it's also completely free to enter. The Tate Modern Art Gallery. If you have ever seen modern art, you'll probably know why it's free to enter. I'm not a fan myself. I prefer buildings like St Paul's. If you are a fan of modern art, that's the place to go. Going back to St Paul's, if you look above the dome, there is actually at the top, see the ring at the top, that's a viewing platform. So you can go up there and the views are just as good as the London Eye. The only problem, to reach the top of that building, there is no lift inside, and you will have to climb over 500 steps to reach the top. On a Sunday it is closed due to there being a service taking place inside St Paul's. And this is the Millennium Footbridge you may recognise from a Harry Potter movie. This bridge is famous in London and it has a nickname. It's known as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. You see, when this bridge first opened, as people cross, lots of people, hundreds of people run across, and the bridge started to swing from side to side. Opened on a Saturday morning in the millennium year by the Queen. It was closed the same afternoon by the police. Wibbling and wobbling. And if there's any fans of Shakespeare on board today, just here to the right hand side, there's a round white building. It has a thatched roof. This is the replica to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. And that building was opened in 1997, and in the Globe they reenact Shakespeare's plays. Now all of those plays, they are set traditionally as they would have been in the Elizabethan era. And just an interesting fact, the Globe Theatre is the only building in London that has been allowed to be made from timber and thatch since the Great Fire of London in 1666. And it actually took them 15 years to be granted planning permission to rebuild the globe. Then we have the Southwark Road Bridge. This bridge, it was built to relieve congestion from the old London Bridge. It's normally a lot quieter than this. The main approach roads, they are hidden in the back streets, and it makes it quite difficult to find. You wouldn't normally see that many people walking over the bridge. That lady up there is completely lost. Look, she hasn't got a clue where she's going. As we come through the bridge, ahead of us on the right-hand side, so as I mentioned, this is the South Bank of London, and there are some very nice riverside pubs on the South Bank. One of the pubs that I would recommend is that brick building on the right with the red window frames and lights outside, and it's called the Anchor. Parts of that building dates back 400 years, built in 1615. It's even said that the likes of Shakespeare and his actors would have used this pub. There's a nice beer garden outside. That'll be very busy over there later on this afternoon. Still a bit early, I think, for the beer garden. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Cannon Street's Railway Bridge. Again, look down at the water line. Look at the water rushing through the columns of the bridge. The Thames can move to speeds of about 5 knots. The strongest Olympic swimmers in the world, they swim at about 3.5 knots. So a very fast flowing river, can be very dangerous at times as well. And especially for the children, for the boys and girls, look to the right. Where the group of people are standing, look behind them, there's a lovely old wooden pirate ship. Have you all seen the film Pirates of the Caribbean? That's got nothing to do with it. No, it is a pirate ship, and that is a working replica to Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind. And Drake was the first Englishman to sail a ship around the world. He did so on a boat identical to that one. The replica there as a museum. And I can imagine that some of you, many of you, may have travelled for thousands of miles to come and see the next thing that I'm going to point out. The bridge that we're about to go beneath. The most historical river crossing over the Thames. And this is it, ladies and gents. This is London Bridge.
Oh, London Bridge.
And I can imagine now some of you are very disappointed.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll agree that London Bridge is not much to look at, but it is very historical. And if you have your cameras, look to the left there. It does make for a nice picture. The name engraved into the stonework. This is the 5th London Bridge to stand on this site, and it was opened in 1973 by Her Majesty the Queen. There has been a river crossing called London Bridge here for 2,000 years. The first one built by the Romans. The first London Bridge, it was built in 45 AD by the Romans. It was pulled down by Vikings, and it's believed that's when the nursery rhyme started. London Bridge is falling down. And look here to the right, I'm sure you've seen that building throughout London, the Shard. The Shard is the tallest building in Western Europe, just over 1,000 feet high. At the top of the Shard there is an observation platform. You can go to the top, but it will cost you just under £50 each. So it is quite expensive. If you would like to save some money, I like to recommend the building on your left. There's a tall glass building that has a curved roof. And on top of that building you will find the largest rooftop garden in the UK. That is open to the public, and we like to mention that because it's free of charge to use. Now it won't cost you anything. You will have to book online at their website, the Sky Garden London. So bear that in mind, the Sky Garden. The Sky Garden is very popular. It's been running for quite a few years now.
Oh, Tower Bridge is
Recently, behind the Sky Garden, you'll see it in a few moments, there's a slightly taller building. And on top of that building, you will also find a free observation platform. And it's called Horizon 22. So if you find that the Sky Garden is fully booked, which most of the time it is, Google Horizon 22 London, and you might be able to get a space to get up there. I say it's very nice up there. In the river to our right, we have the warship in London, the HMS Belfast. Built in Belfast, Northern Ireland, in the same shipyard that built the Titanic, the Harland and Wolff shipyard. And the Belfast, she saw action all throughout World War II. Permanently moored in London as a museum today. So you can go on board this ship, look around, it's a great day out for the kids. There's 9 decks to explore, and it's part of the Imperial War Museum. So ladies and gents, in front of us, what we'll do in a few moments, don't rush to get a picture of Tower Bridge. So you'll get a much better view. When we go through Tower Bridge, if the captain don't mind, he'll turn the boat sideways, is that right? Thank you, Captain. He's in a very good mood today. So we'll go through Tower Bridge, turn the boat sideways, and you will get a lovely photo opportunity, okay? So don't rush to get your pictures just yet. Before I mention Tower Bridge, look to the left, and there's the castle. The famous fortress, the Tower of London, one of London's top tourist attractions, dating back nearly 1,000 years to 1078 in the reign of William the Conqueror. Been many different things throughout its life, the tower, most famously known as a place of imprisonment, torture and execution. So there is a lot of gruesome history behind the walls of that building. If you haven't been inside, it should be on a list of things to do. And then Tower Bridge, the gateway to London. I'm sure you're aware that the centre sections of the bridge, they lift up, they open, to allow ships in and out of this part of the river. Years ago, Tower Bridge, this opened a minimum of 100 times a week. Nowadays, maybe 5 or 6 times. You can go inside Tower Bridge, you can see how everything works. You can go along the walkways at the top. A recent addition to the walkways, glass floor. Look up as we go through, look closely, you'll see people standing up there. Don't look too closely, we all looked up yesterday. There was a Scottish wedding reception going on. Wasn't a pretty sight, believe me. But that's all called the Tower Bridge experience. I highly recommend it. Try to go to the top. If you Google Tower Bridge lifts, it gives you a schedule over the next few months of all the planned openings of that bridge. Try to go to the top and stand on the glass when it's due to open, and you can watch it lift beneath your feet. Now ladies and gents, on the left, our first stop, Tower Bridge Quay. Now, so we're going to turn the boat in a few moments to make our way across the river. And as we do this, a nice side-on view. Whilst you're taking your pictures, just a little bit of journey information. Listen carefully, we don't want anyone getting lost. Is anybody on this boat going to Greenwich? Yes, excellent. Stay here. Stay on this boat. Greenwich is our next stop.
So we're going to Greenwich.
If you are not going to Greenwich, you will need to leave us here at the tower. Okay? So leave us here at Tower Bridge Quay. If you are returning straight back to Westminster, wait on the pier. Very shortly, another boat will be along, and a different boat will take you to Westminster. But just wait on the pier. It's about 10 or 15 minutes. The next boat will be here. If you are leaving us, please make sure that you take all of your personal belongings. Don't leave anything behind. Make sure you've got your bags, cameras, phones, wallets, and please take your children. Okay, it's shocking the amount of people that leave their kids behind. Okay?
That's true. That's
We
very
don't
true.
want. Don't just take your favourite ones, okay? Take them all, right? And as we come into the pier, just please stay in your seats now until we are safely tied up. And ladies and gents, I would like to thank you for your very kind attention. So I know we have people on board today from overseas. Maybe haven't understood me too well. I really do appreciate your patience, so thank you.
Greenwich.
And as we mentioned on these boats, we are the crew. We do these commentaries to hopefully make it more interesting. And hopefully I've succeeded in that today. And because the commentaries are done by us, we do have a tradition. Now when you leave the boat at the exit, I'm there to help you off. You will see me with a small champagne ice bucket, little silver bucket, and that's our tip bucket. And if you have understood, enjoyed the commentary, and would like to, only if you would like to, drop something into our bucket as you leave, that is greatly appreciated, and it is your generosity, of course, that keeps us on the river doing these commentaries. But whatever the outcome, I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry about the delay in the service earlier, but thank you all for listening and a lovely time in London. Take care. Thank you very much. Thank you. All the very best. That's very quiet. Thank you very much. Thank you.
They're going to do, going to secure everything first. So we're trying to get closer and closer, so you can have a nice view. Trying to get closer and closer, so that some people can get off and other people can get on as well. Are you seeing it? So you're getting the full experience, just getting closer and closer. Yeah. So it will take a little while. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video. And when we start up, then we are going to continue. Hope that you have enjoyed it so far.
Ilaria me l'ha chiesto un certo del che significante che sta parlando, aspetta, lei sta parlando
guarda, sì, Simo, sa il cocco de mamma.
So ladies and gentlemen, for the passengers that have just joined us, welcome on board. The name of the boat that you're on today is the Mercurio, and we've left Tower Bridge Quay to make our way downriver. The next stop is Greenwich. Just a routine safety announcement as we leave, not to alarm you, but just to let you know that the vessel you're on is equipped with life-saving equipment, and we carry life rafts, life rings and life jackets for 250 passengers. Now the crew on board are fully trained. In the very unlikely event of an emergency, please follow instructions from a crew member. And folks, as most of you are aware, on the way through London I have been pointing out some places of interest and landmarks along the way. If I may, could I just ask please for a show of hands if you would like me to continue with the commentary on the way downriver? Oh, brilliant. That's perfect. Most of us. Excellent. Okay, so we will carry on. We have entered a much quieter part of the river, and this is where shipping took place years ago. When the shipping came to an end, a lot of the riverside wharves and warehouses, they were knocked down to make way for accommodation. Now, the area of London to our right-hand side, this is all known as Bermondsey, and it's part of South East London. Now Bermondsey, years ago, this was a very rough and a very poor part of London. It was in Bermondsey where Charles Dickens set the scene for his famous novel of Oliver Twist, basing some of the main characters like Fagin and Bill Sykes on people that he had met in the area. Bermondsey nowadays, this is a very nice part of London, but it does remain with lots of character. That's a very nice area now. Bermondsey to the right. Over to our left-hand side, we are passing the East End of London. The East End of London, rife with criminal activity years ago. Made up of lots of smaller areas, and some of the more famous or well-known parts of the East End are places like Bethnal Green, Bow, Mile End and Whitechapel. Now, I'm sure that you've all heard of Whitechapel, and that's where the Jack the Ripper murders took place in the 1890s. There's a very nice building to the left, a yellow brick building. You can see the name across the side and on the front, Oliver's Wharf. Now, over the years, lots of celebrities have lived inside that building, and there's been some famous people like Robert De Niro, the famous singer and actress Cher, and up until recently in the penthouse suite, Dame Helen Mirren. Now, when Cher lived in that building, Cher wrote letters to our company, and she complained about us telling you where she lived. Eventually, she got so fed up that she just moved further down the river. And I will point it out when we go past. Cherry Garden Pier to the right. This separates two parts of London, so we're leaving behind us Bermondsey now, and we've entered a very nice part of London called Rotherhithe. Rotherhithe to the right. I'll tell you more about this area shortly. If you look down ahead of us in the river to the left, you'll see the police boats tied up, and the Thames River Police. They are the oldest uniformed police force anywhere in the world. And the Thames River Police, they were started up just under 300 years ago, and they were started by a group of local businessmen who wanted to fight back against piracy. Now, piracy on this river was rife years ago. At one time, 30% of cargo that came to London was stolen. So the businessmen joined together and they formed the Thames River Police. Years ago, if you were found guilty of piracy, for your crimes, you would have been sentenced to death by drowning in the river. A famous pirate to be executed in this way was a Scotsman by the name of Captain William Kidd. And if you look to the left, you'll see a pub named after him. Captain Kidd was one of the last pirates to be executed in London, and this took place back in 1701.
There it is, that little white.
And then to the right-hand side, you'll see a lovely church spire above the buildings. That's St Mary's Church at Rotherhithe. Buried in the grounds of that church, there's another captain by the name of Christopher Jones. He was the captain and part owner of a ship called the Mayflower. Now, do we have any American passengers still with us today? Yeah, excellent. So this might interest you. Look to the right, just past the building with the scaffolding, you'll see a lovely riverside pub called the Mayflower, named after the ship that set sail from this part of London in the early 1600s. And when the Mayflower left here, it travelled the coast of England, stopped and loaded with passengers at a place called Plymouth. Those passengers were then sailed to America, where they settled, became known as the Pilgrim Fathers. And it's called the Prospect of Whitby. Now that pub dates back over 500 years, and there has been a pub trading on that site since the reign of King Henry VIII. So sorry ladies and gentlemen, got something stuck in my throat there. That pub dates back over 500 years, and it was named after a ship called the Prospect that used to bring coal to London from Whitby in Yorkshire. So the crew of the Prospect, they used to drink in that pub. Sadly, one night on their way out to sea, they were lost in a violent storm, and the landlady at the time renamed it in remembrance to those who lost their lives. Just here to the right hand side, the yellow brick building, Globe Wharf. This was a rice warehouse that closed down in the 70s. As you can see now, Globe Wharf has been converted into Riverside apartments. And if you did want to buy a 2-bedroom property in one of these buildings, you would be looking to spend a 2-bedroom apartment approximately £1 million. Back at Tower Bridge, where we stopped, if you bought a 2-bedroom apartment there, you would be looking to spend about £3.5 million. And of course, it is really the location that you're paying for. Back over to the left, ladies and gents, we've just gone past a dock entrance called the Limehouse Marina. If you had a small enough boat, you could enter that dock entrance, and from there you gain access to the Grand Union Canal. And from there you can travel the inland waterways of Great Britain to places as far up north as Birmingham or Manchester. And another building that's owned by a celebrity ahead of us on the left hand side. Follow the buildings along, there's 2 white houses. Next to the white houses, there's a brick building that has wooden balconies and gold lettering across the top that reads The Grapes. And that is a lovely riverside pub owned by the actor Sir Ian McKellen. And some of you may know him better as Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. Ian McKellen lives very, very nearby to that pub. But once again, we're not allowed to tell you where because he has complained. But he lives next door to Cher, and he may or may not have a yellow statue and a pink ball in his garden. A few years back, property developers were going to buy that pub, knock it down, and turn it into apartments. Ian McKellen stepped in, and he saved it from being destroyed.
Yeah, this commentator is number 1.
As we round the bend in the river to the left, we are passing the Canary Wharf development. And I'm pretty sure that most of us call the office block with the pyramid roof Canary Wharf. The official name for that building is the Canada Tower, number 1 Canada Square. Up until recently, that was up to a few years back, it was the tallest building in the UK for a very long time, standing 850 feet high. It's now been taken over by the Shard at London Bridge. And the Canary Wharf development to our left gets its name because years ago, lots of fruit from the Canary Islands was brought to this part of London. And that fruit would have been stored in the large docking system in this area. It's a lovely place to visit. Canary Wharf has been compared to as being a mini Manhattan. If you do find yourself with a spare few hours, I would highly recommend it and have a look around the Canary Wharf development. Now folks, if you look down ahead of us, look left and right of the river, and you'll see now that we have just luxury riverside apartments, or what we like to call unaffordable housing. So there isn't really much for me to mention. We're going to go round the bend. If you look down ahead of us, look round to the left, the river bends round, and when we get round that next bend, that is when Greenwich will come into view. So folks, what I'm going to do, just for 5 minutes, I'm going to switch off and I'm going to give your ears a rest. When Greenwich comes into view, I'll let you know what you can see and do down at Greenwich, and also about the times of returning boats. Just before I switch off, I would like to again thank you for your very kind attention. And if I may, just one last time, briefly mention the commentary along the way.
Yeah, it's good.
As we said at the start, and I'm sure it has become painfully obvious, that on these boats we are the crew. And it's an old tradition that we point the buildings out, we take it in turns throughout the day by passing on some local knowledge to hopefully make it more interesting. Hopefully, I've succeeded in doing that today. And what I will do very shortly, in the old traditional manner, for anybody on board that has understood or maybe enjoyed the commentary, I will pass around amongst you with our silver champagne ice buckets, our little tip bucket. And for whatever you think the commentary may have been worth today, if you would like to drop a couple of bob into our bucket, that is greatly appreciated. If you're not too sure what a couple of bob is, it's just an old English word that we have for a £20 note. Now, all joking aside, ladies and gents, whatever the outcome, thank you very much for listening. If you do have any other questions, feel free to ask as I pass around and see you. And I will let you know what you can see and do down at Greenwich in a few moments' time. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Unless you think I'm joking here.
It's very kind, thank you.
Can you see? Oh, you can't see it. Here. I found a fiver. What do you guys think? I think the commentary was really good. I hope that you enjoyed that as well. I really enjoyed that. So once again, if you're in London and you're thinking about some attractions, something to do, then definitely this is something that I would encourage. So you're looking for like the London cruises. What I did, I went online and I look on Google. I look for London cruises, and then you can choose like, you know, which of the piers you want to depart from. You can look at the where you want to go, so you can stop off at London Bridge, not London Bridge, Tower Bridge, or you can go to Greenwich. So it is something for you to decide where you want to, you know, how long you want your cruise to be. For me, I definitely enjoy going on the London cruise, and I know that you'll enjoy it as well. And of course I'm talking because if you recall, the commentator said that he's going to stop talking for like 5 minutes until we get close to Greenwich, then what are you saying? That I should take over the commentary? Of course, I don't know these buildings, so I can't help you right there. So I guess you're going to have to just listen to me talking, taking in the view until the official commentary resume. But like I was saying, you know, what I did was to get onto Google. I typed in London cruise. For this particular one, because I did not mention the price, for the round trip, I paid £14.90. And I would imagine that it depends on what you want. You know, because for me, I'm going all the way to Greenwich. So for me, perhaps that is more expensive than if I was getting off at Tower Bridge. I hope that you enjoy this travel time with me as well. For those who have never been on a river cruise, this is something I would definitely encourage as well. And I'm sure that they have what they call like the party boats as well. So you know, if you're having like a birthday party, etc., and you want to do it on the river Thames, then you can look that up as well. They will make the necessary arrangements, nice funky music playing while you entertain your guests. So you know, that is something that, you know, if you want to do it that way for your parties, then everything is right there on Google. The information is always available for you to check them out. Pretty fast, isn't it? Pretty interesting facts as well. I hope that you will enjoy. You enjoy like the comment. You have enjoyed the commentary so far. Information shared, the facts as well. A bit of history lesson as well. So you know that is really good. Okay, let me show you closer. Bring the buildings closer. Let me show you. Much better.
Guys, would anybody like to show any appreciation for the commentary? Yeah. Very lucky. Any appreciation for the commentary? We take everything. Everything and anything. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much. Guys, would anybody like to show any appreciation for the commentary?
Okay, it's clay. You have a lot of, red clay, and that's what bricks are made from. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Almost as if you're seeing a cinematic view of these buildings. It's like something that you would see in the movies. As a matter of fact, quite a lot of movies are made in London.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much for your kind appreciation. That is greatly received. And as promised, we've come around the bend behind us, and in front of us, look at that lovely view, the Royal Borough of Greenwich. The first thing that I'll mention down here at Greenwich is over here to our right-hand side, you'll see a sailing ship. Look to the right of the sailing ship, and on top of the hill in the distance, there's a red castle-like building. And up there, ladies and gents, that is the Royal Observatory, Flamstead House. And that is where time is set throughout the world, and it's where the east meets the west. It's where we get Greenwich Mean Time from. Now, if you would like to go to the observatory, it's about a 20-minute walk, but it is worth going up there for the view of London alone. The view is maybe better than the London Eye. The sailing ship to the right, the Cutty Sark, the famous tea clipper that used to race around the world to places like India and China. She would bring tea back to this country, a very fast, powerful ship of her day that's permanently down here, it's been down here for many years as a museum. That's just a 30-second walk away. If you get off the boat and walk for 2 minutes ahead of us along the riverfront, you end up outside these lovely white buildings, and these buildings are the ex-naval colleges where the Royal Navy were trained years ago. These buildings have now been converted or turned into Greenwich University. You can walk around the grounds of the buildings for free, and inside you'll find the great painted hall and a lovely chapel as well. In between those buildings, just inshore, you will find the Maritime Museum. I believe it's free to enter, and it's said to be one of the finest maritime museums in the world. I highly recommend that as well. So as I say, we would suggest that you get off the boat, spend a bit of time down here at Greenwich, plenty to see and do. And if you are leaving us, to let you know that the boats return back every 40 minutes. Your last boat this evening will be at 5 o'clock. So we leave pretty much straight away. We go back upriver and we head to the Tower and Westminster. But the boats, they are every 40 minutes, and your last one is at 5 o'clock this evening. So whatever you're going to do, have a lovely afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and you enjoy your time here in London, okay? Well, thanks a lot. Take care. All the very best. Thank you. It's very kind. Please don't stop. Don't stop.
Wait for it to go properly. I won't get off just now, meaning, I'll wait for the crowd to get off, then I'll get off and make my way up. Thank you if you have gotten to the end of this video, drop a like on the video, and of course if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe as well. Thank you for watching this video. Until I upload another video, my family, bye.